Hello, everybody. This is Max, and welcome to another Max Bytes, my mini podcast I do exclusively for all of you, my loyal followers. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a wonderful week, and I hope you have something really fun planned for the weekend, and I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I hope a blessed and relaxed one. I'm going to jump right into the podcast here. This was it's been a while, and this has been one of the most requested topics that I cover. And at Max Bytes, or like I said, it's a mini podcast. I do this to hopefully illuminate, clarify some things for individuals, and most importantly, comfort people. And I hope you can glean from this something that can encourage you. So, but I've been getting a lot of requests to cover the indictments. And I'm going to say plural, the indictments. So building on my previous Max Bytes, which you can revisit, they're here on the channel. I have been uploading them to YouTube since last summer at least, or actually, since last summer. I've been doing these mini podcasts for about 2 years, roughly. Started on Telegram when all the censorship was going on. Ported over from, on Twitter. And when we went over to Telegram, and that became sort of my hub for interplay and for conversations because of big tech censorship, which reminds me, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Subscribing to the channel, thumbs up the video, and leave a comment. I love reading comments because, and forgive me if I can't reply to everything. People DM me all the time and whatnot, and I literally can't reply to everything. But subscriptions, thumbs up, and comments are the way to beat big tech. You're using their technology, their algorithms against them. And so do that. I would appreciate it because everything's organic with me. I'm 1,000% independent. And if you want to support my work, you can do so through my Venmo and PayPal. It's in the description. The links are there. I would appreciate it. Leave me a tip. But, we went over to Telegram, and I started these Max Bytes, and I started uploading them there. And then there was kind of more people on, that weren't on Telegram wanted to listen to them. So I started uploading them to YouTube, and here we are. I'm going to jump right into it and just bring it up. So the indictments. Now, I said in previous episodes that there'd be 3. There would be one in Manhattan. We got it. I've been saying this since December. There'd be one in Manhattan. We got that. There'll be one in Fulton County. That's to come. And we just got another one. The big one, which would be the Department of Justice, would drop its. I know there's there may be a 4th, possibly. Anything's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I don't know. It may happen. Who knows? I haven't really looked into that too well. In New Jersey, that would be really silly. But let's discuss the federal one. And of course, you've all heard it dropped on the same day that we started getting revelations about Biden's bribery of $5 million. $10 million to him and his son total, but $5 million specifically to him. Of course, the moment members of Congress, members of leadership in Congress and in the Senate start discussing details about a redacted document that the FBI has been sitting on for years, which has evidence that Joe Biden is involved in a bribery scheme, makes you wonder, have they been aware of this for 4 or 5 years? Because they obviously have, right? And it should have been released into the 2020 election. I just want to say something right now. How many elections now has the FBI interfered with? They interfered in the 2016 election and the 2020 election by suppressing damaging stuff on the Democrat candidates, right? And now they are interfering in the 2024 election, or at least they think they are. Okay. Let's get to the merit of the case, though. They're essentially, and I'm going to be speaking layman's terms, and I'll just give you my perspective, glean from it what you will. They're essentially 37 or 38 counts in this indictment, right? Okay. It all comes down to the primary things, right? It's all under the Espionage Act of Section 793 E of the Espionage Act, which was the Espionage Act of 1917, which is one of the most loathed federal laws ever passed. It's probably unconstitutional. And this interplay, if you would, or this back and forth with the Presidential Records Act, which is not cited in the indictments itself for obvious reasons, because the Presidential Records Act, which President Carter signed into law in the 1970s, gives the president tremendous latitude for documents that he can possess from his tenure as president, and that's what we're talking about here specifically. So what you have is the president had unauthorized possession, this is the charges, unauthorized possession of documents that, whether they were considered classified or not, he wasn't supposed to be in possession of them. Willful retention, because he refused to turn them over when they asked him to turn it over. Now, I have to stop right there. The willful retention thing. A lot of rhinos and a lot of Democrats and never-Trumpers are saying, hey, if Trump had just turned it over, there wouldn't have been any issue. That's only part of the indictment. Even if they had come to his door, knocked on it, and said, give us your documents, and he turned everything he had in the house over to him, there's other parts to it. For instance, unauthorized possession of them. The willful retention is just not turning it over right away. But these two things are related, because the unauthorized possession and the willful retention are under the assumption that Trump knew that he did possess documents he wasn't supposed to possess. That's if he isn't supposed to be possessing them, which I'll get to in a second. So let me just put it like this. Donald Trump, to this day, which is why he keeps putting out truths, it's brilliant actually when you stop and think about it, like the truth post that he put out earlier today, which was basically to sum it up. Now that everybody knows the truth, is the FBI going to return the stolen documents that they stole from my house? He is under the impression, and it's a brilliant legal move for his defense, that he has every right in the world to the papers in his possession, or what were in his possession. All right, so the unauthorized possession of 31 counts leads to the willful retention, or they're interrelated. So if he believes that the documents in his possession, he legally has them, right? You can understand why he didn't want to part with them. That's the willful retention. The question is whether or not he should have had these documents in his hands. And of course, that would help answer the willful retention, because he didn't recognize the legalities of the lawful presence of an official that was entitled to receive the information. Okay. To prove any of this in court, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you're going to have to show intent. Frankly, I just don't see how you get into his head on this, because he's going to literally talk about the Presidential Records Act, which this has, to my knowledge, has never been adjudicated between the Espionage Act. In fact, the Presidential Records Act is in place to prevent these kind of problems under the Espionage Act. And again, we're talking about documents here that go back years. Whether or not that leads into this other part, which is whether or not any of this is really should even be considered a national security threat. Because what they're also charging President Trump with is sharing national defense information, essentially sharing national defense information. And that is an entire other element, which is, okay, he's saying in a recording, which is very troubling that they has that recording, and it's very surprising too, but there's a recording where Trump is saying, hey, I have this document here, and he's waving it around, according to the indictment. And this is something that should have been declassified. I could have declassified it at one time, but I didn't, and it's top secret, or whatever that means, secret. If he's showing national, and apparently, according to the indictment, it was a 2019 memo. Okay, well, if it's that many years old, I don't think it's sensitive information. It's not exactly like he's waving around the nuclear codes or something like that. The other thing is whether or not it even exists. Now, think about that. The indictment does not have, or does not declare that they actually recovered from Mar-a-Lago the alleged classified document or secret document, whatever that means, that President Trump purported to have and was showing someone in New Jersey. Okay, so they don't have that document. So you literally have a recording of someone, the president, saying, hey, this piece of paper is top secret. He could have been waving around like the dimensions on the latest Playboy calendar, for all we know. I mean, Trump, he likes to brag. He likes to be boisterous. I'm sitting there and I'm going, you don't have the material evidence in front of you. You don't even, you flat out don't mention that you have it in the indictment because you don't have it, because you didn't recover it. So it's a spurious document that we don't even know what he meant by the word secret. It could have been something that he did declassify. It's a very, very likely thing. And then he's just bragging like, hey, this thing here, I've got this too, waving it back and forth. I'm just sitting here shaking my head and I'm like, no, this is utter garbage. So you have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he had a document. It was top secret or secret, classified military defense information. It was sensitive and he was sharing it. And I don't think they're going to get there with any of this. Not to mention the fact that the optics are really bad. And Greg Kelly, who I was actually chatting with the other day, when he did, I don't know if you caught it, go back, it was a couple of days ago, he did that wonderful bit on the boxes in the photographs. And you should, if you haven't seen it, watch it. It was brilliant. Where we see all those boxes of all those documents and the FBI indictment and, the Department of Justice indictment. And it's, all those shows, all those boxes. You may think that Trump has like thousands and thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of classified documents. And in reality, there's only 103 pages of classified material, or material that he should not have been in possession of. That's actually the evidence in the indictment, but yet they have inserted photos of all those boxes, which were all personal things. So it's like, why are you guys doing this? It's obvious that's just bad optics. And don't tell me that Judge Cannon is not going to bring that up. So to recap, what you have is 31 counts of unauthorized possession, and then the rest is willful retention of the documents that you have that are unlawfully in your possession, or unauthorized they're unauthorized and in your possession. It's a tongue twister, blah, 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 blah. Can't even say it. And then you have the sharing of the tape, whatever they have, the audio recording of him boasting about a classified piece of information in his hands that is national defense, or national defense information. I think that's technically what is, NDI, and that he was showing to someone else. And they're not actually charging him with showing it to somebody else. That's omitted from the indictment as well. But that he has that document in his hand, and he shouldn't have it. The total amount of evidence, the things that they actually recovered from Mar-a-Lago that was put in to the indictment, is 103 pages. It's not even enough to fill a folder, a manila envelope, okay? Let alone dozens and dozens of boxes that they kept moving from room to room and photographing, and some super sleuths online were able to point that out. And whether or not the stuff is classified or not, is a question. They have classified markings, whatever that means. Almost everything that you see on the news from time to time has classified markings on it. Whether it's classified information, that's something else. And that's another thing, because the indictment only cites classified markings. It doesn't actually say anything except the secret document, which they did not recover, and they don't have it because I postulate that it doesn't even exist. Knowing Donald Trump, he probably didn't even know what he was waving in his hand. Like I said, it could have been anything. So there it is. That's the tough case that we have to face. Now the question is, what's the timing going to be on this? I have no idea. I don't think it's going to be this year. It'll probably be at the soonest that they'll go to trials next year. But I mean, heck, I could be wrong on that. Whether or not it goes to trial before the election, look, if they don't do it this year, I don't really see how a fair judge like Judge Cannon, who's very qualified, and they don't like her because she's just fair. And I think she'll be fair. I don't see how she actually sets a time sometime in the middle of next spring or something. That could constitute election interference. You're really, really, really in an area that you don't want to be. And you can easily see an appeal from one side or the other, specifically from the Trump side. If she was to schedule something for like March or April, you can see or even late summer, you could see an appeal to the 11th Circuit, and you can see it getting postponed until after the election. You could certainly even see the Supreme Court stepping in. I did point out the fact that Clarence Thomas is the 11th Circuit Justice. We talk about, I've taught on this for many years, but we talk about this at my Civics Maximus seminars, which you guys need to attend. My next Civics Maximus seminar is June 23rd and the 24th. It's Democracy versus Republic, where I'll be talking about all of this. I'll also be talking about Articles 1, 2, and 3 of the Constitution, the legislative process, the executive branch, and the judiciary. And we'll be discussing the Bill of Rights and the 14th Amendment as well. So contact any of my angels or warriors if you want to sign up. Contact information is in the description below. Email Roxy Balboa, the number 1 at gmail.com. She can sign you up. Members of Premium get discounts. We're also running a special this month, 60% off on Maximus Premium, where I'm discussing this and more, and election 2024. Around the clock, pretty much every day, I engage in chat. So contact Roxy about that. If you want to join Premium, you're getting 60% off this month, so I would definitely take advantage of that. And there's a lot of perks that go with that. You get access to my private chat, my private channels, or I'm posting tons of articles, full access on my website to all my material. It's a lot of great stuff. Discount on merchandise, seminars, etc. But so understand this. Every circuit court in the United States is divided into various circuits, okay, with states grouped under certain circuit courts. And within that, you have districts, okay? The circuits are made up by districts. Every circuit court has a Supreme Court justice over it. So if there's a First Circuit justice, there's a Second Circuit justice, and so on. The 11th Circuit Justice is Clarence Thomas. The 11th Circuit is more or less conservative. It's not as conservative as the 5th Circuit. And you have a group of really good judges in the federal districts in Florida to begin with. And then you have Clarence Thomas over everybody. So, Trump's in pretty good friendly territory down there. The only place that would be better than that would probably be Texas. Okay? And my feelings on this, then the question is, hey, Max, is he going to serve time? I've been saying this too. I've said it over and over again. You can't, and I don't know why people can't get this straight. I mean, I'm talking about pundits, the pundits, the ones with the big accounts out there and everything. You can't disqualify a president. I mean, having a felony conviction does not disqualify a person from running for president, or for any elected office for that matter, federally speaking. The only qualifications for being the president constitutionally are found in Article 2, You have to be at least 35, be a resident of the United States for at least 14 years, and be a natural-born citizen. You can't be a naturalized citizen. That's it. Those are the only qualifications. You can't add to that. The 14th Amendment deliberately is silent. Section 3 is silent on the offices of president and vice president, which beg question as to whether or not he could ever be disqualified. But I digress. I don't want to get into all of that. I'm going to be discussing that at my seminar anyway. If you guys want to attend, we'll be going into all of these details regarding all of the indictments against him, including the Manhattan one, the pending Fulton one, and any other new surprises we get, which I don't think I don't really think we're going to get. We may get one more. I don't really think we're going to get they're going to be coming out of everywhere. But even a conviction, he could still run for president. I've mentioned this actually in previous Max Bytes and Megabytes that are most of them are the Megabytes are a premium service. But there are a few I've posted going back several months on my YouTube channel. So feel free to listen to those. But this is something that I don't see in any way. And in any case, look, the indictment has unified the GOP even more around President Trump. He's now leading by 40 plus points in most polls. Some polls he's up by 50. It's ended the primary. This was never going to be a very hard primary to win. I thought that Ron DeSantis, who I actually have a lot of respect for, but don't respect the decision he made to run, I thought he'd do better when he came out the door, and I thought he would get a bump in the polls. He got a negative bump in the polls, just like John Kerry did after the Democratic Convention in 2004. I don't think you're going to see anything but good news for us come down from this. And we win this primary, and I think we're actually in very good position, I should say, to win the general election. So I wouldn't worry about that. I think we're going to win. And I'll be discussing all of this and more at my upcoming seminars. Again, Civics Maximus Democracy versus Republic. We will be talking about the GOP primary a little bit there. We'll be talking a lot about the indictments. So that's going to be July 23rd to the 24th again. I'm doing a double-decker crash course on July 26th for a few individuals. So if that works out better, definitely let us know. You can sign up by contacting one of my assistants on Telegram or Twitter. They're all really well known. That's going to be Roxy and Jessica and Julie and Eyes and Bree and Jackie. Definitely reach out to them. You can email Roxy directly. It's in her contact information's in the description. That's Roxy Balboa, the number 1 at gmail.com. And in any case, send the assistants, because we love the Angels and Warriors. So send them some love. They really enjoy that, and I think it's really nice to do that once in a while. But anyway, I hope you found this episode a little clarifying to everything. I frankly do not see how this actually endures. That's why I'm very relaxed about it. I'm pretty chill about it. I don't, just calm down, make yourself something good to eat, spend time with your family, unplug, unwind, turn off the TVs, or at least turn off the news, and watch a good movie or whatnot, and just chill out and enjoy yourself. And definitely subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment below. Let me know what you'd like me to cover in the future too. And like I said, if you want to become a part of my premium, that's where all the action's at. So definitely reach out to Roxy about that. She handles that. And let her know you want to join premium. We're doing it for 60% off this month, and you'll get access to my full podcast, which I actually do live. And then I'm constantly engaging with people in my private chats. You can drop any question you post, I answer. And so it's like being in class with me 24/7, which is really cool. But I hope to see you at the seminars. I hope to see you on premium. God bless you. And take care, be at peace, and be well. And remember, The best is yet to come, to quote our favorite president. Ciao.